Hey everybody, welcome to another math video. For this one I'll be talking about quadratic inequalities. It's a topic that a lot of people have a hard time doing. Okay, so this is the gist of what's going to be going on here, so let's get right into it. Okay, so quadratic inequalities are like linear inequalities with the difference that it has a degree of 2. So here's how we'll do it. So if all the terms aren't all on one side of the inequality, we want to do that first. Then we want to find all the zeros. So we're either going to be doing factoring, or if we can't factor, we're going to use the quadratic formula. So once we find the zeros, we'll be using a number line. We'll be picking values around the zeros to create a sign chart, and then from there we'll write out the solution. And there's two ways to do it, but normally we use interval notation, so I'll be showing you how to do that. Okay? Okay, so we're going to solve this inequality. So first step was to move everything to the same side of the inequality. So I'm going to move everything to where I have the highest degree. So I'm going to move everything over to this side of the inequality sign. Okay. Then I'm going to see if I can factor this, which it looks like I can. So now we're going to ignore this portion and we're going to find the zeros. So what makes these 0? Okay, those are my two zeros. Now, if you remember from the inequality videos, this symbol tells us we're going to have a closed circle at these values here. So it should look something like this initially, and this is what we're going to work with. So remember, these values here are zeros. These values are what make this whole thing here 0. Okay, so we're going to pick values around those values, or values around those zeros, to see what signs we get. So we're not going to actually solve it all the way. We're going to substitute the values in to see what kind of signs we get. Okay, so start off with 2. Right over here, it's outside of 3. So what I'll do is I'll use this part right here because that's the part I'm interested in. That's the part that'll give me the signs I'm looking for. Okay, so I'm going to substitute 2. So you can see here, this will be a negative, this will be a negative. With the multiplication, we have a negative times a negative, which gives me a positive. So, because 2 gives me a positive value, it's safe to assume that everything on this side of 3 will be positive. Okay, so let's pick something in between 3 and 8 now. So I'm going to go with 5. You can pick any value, doesn't matter. Okay, so again, start off with this step right here. Substitute in the 5, see what kind of signs we get. So this is a positive, this is a negative. Positive times a negative gives me a negative. So since this is a negative value here, it's safe to assume everything else in between 3 and 8 will also be negative. Okay, now we'll pick something past 8. So I chose 9. So again, substitute into this part. So this is positive, and this is positive. Positive times a positive is still positive. So it's safe to assume everything here past 8 will also be positive. Okay, so now for the inequality portion, for the solution at least, we're going to be looking at this one here. Or you can even look at this one, doesn't matter. The point is you want the inequality where 0 is present. So you notice the original inequality doesn't have 0 anywhere, except for in the 10, but that's not 0, that's 10. Okay, but these two have zeros in them. And that's what we're interested in looking at, because we want answers that are greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so you can see in between here is the only portion that's negative, which means everything outside of 3 and 8 is going to be our solution. So, if you remember how to write interval notation, it's always smallest to biggest. So smallest in this case is negative infinity to 3. and then 8 to infinity. And since it's broken, we're going to have to use the union symbol. So it should look something like this. And we use the brackets because 3 and 8 are included in our answer because it's greater than or equal to. If it was just greater than, we'd use parentheses. Alright, so that's pretty much it. It's a pretty long example there. So of course, if the inequality was less than, you would want where it's less than 0. Okay, so if you need to see that example again, go ahead and rewind. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in and stay tuned for my next video.